Welcome back, guys, to another video. I have just recently finished reading Chain of Iron. It is a lot better than Chain of Gold. This one, a lot is happening, and I was literally like page turning the entire time because it was so good. And I just want to bring notice to the cover. The cover is so beautiful. It's so detailed. I was actually wondering why, what's with the wasps? Do they have any importance in the book? I couldn't figure it out. I think it's just part of that world, the fantasy world, I guess. Yeah, it's such a pretty cover, and I like the frame of it too. Anyways, I also want to show you some of the pictures because I liked how in this book they had not pictures every chapter, but pictures every now and then, and the pictures are of the main characters in the book. So this is, I like how they were drawn too, they're silhouettes. Alistair Carstairs. And then this is Lucy Herondale. Yeah, I can't wait till book 3. I'm guessing there's gonna be a book 3 because obviously we have to know what's gonna happen. We have to know what's next. And all of her side series, they all the Dark Artifices, they had 3, and then the Clockwork series, they had 3, and then yeah, I'm guessing there's gonna be a 3rd one, obviously. And as well, I cut out the paper dolls. I wish they would have just had the little dotted lines where you could just pop them out instead of cutting it out, because who wants to cut it out? It's such a drag to do. But I'm just gonna show you the paper dolls. I'm gonna hang this on my wall in my bedroom. So Cordelia, and I'm guessing, I don't know if you have to tape them on the other pieces, but there she is. I put the head there, and that's her on a different dress, and then that's her there. Oh, she looks so good in this one. And then you can add a sword, I guess. This is Cortana, the sword, and then her fan, and her necklace, kind of, and the purse and so forth. And yeah, so I cut them out, and yeah, I'm probably just gonna tape them together and then put it on my bedroom wall. So I was very surprised to find out that Grace can enchant guys. And I was even more surprised that Belial did it. I'm not surprised that Tatiana made Grace go to the forest and get it on her, get that power. And then also I was surprised, well actually I wasn't, but it was funny that Belial also gave her the bracelet that James would wear, because her enchantment didn't work on him, and of course Belial wants to take over James's body, so it was funny that he gave that bracelet. And I was very confused in the book where Lucy and Jessie Jessie came alive at the end, and I was confused, did they go into the Shadow Realm? Because Lucy never went, she never faded like Jace would. And I like them together. They're really cute. And of course, Malcolm Fade would be the one to do necromancy and not object to doing it. Because in the Dark Artifices, he's evil. He totally backstabbed the Blackthorns. I was happy that Grace told him the truth about Annabelle dying and not being at the, with the Iron Sisters. And about the situation where Thomas was seen, being the murderer. I found that scene completely hilarious, and I was also surprised that Alistair actually stepped up and was oh, I followed Thomas, and he was a witness to the scene so he could back Thomas up. I was surprised about that, and I knew that Alistair and Thomas would end up getting together, of course. I was laughing so much because I think the bridge doc or the councilman, he was oh, we found the murderer, arrest him at once. Once Thomas was wielding that knife, and he thought he was gonna find the murderer, Thomas, but he ended up just finding the patrol. And of course Thomas, he didn't want to have a partner, so of course he would end up in a situation like that. But I found it really sad when Alistair told Cordelia to tell their mother he would be staying at Christopher's for the night, because he and Thomas were going to be tried by the Mortal Sword the next day. And Cordelia was are you sure? I don't think she's gonna believe that. And then he's I think she'll be glad to think that I have a friend. And I was so sad because I was oh no, he doesn't have any friends. Well, it was his own fault for being a bully, but I kind of understand it, him being bullied for his father. I was also very creeped out to find out that that wasn't actually Matthew who came to Christopher's door demanding for that like device where they can get runes off a Shadowhunter and then transfer it. I was very creeped out because like when they found out that that wasn't actually Matthew and we didn't actually know who it was, but we found out that it was Lilith, I was super creeped out because I thought that would like spoil the like murder investigation, and I thought they just gave away like the only piece of evidence that they had that they could like try to track the murderer. And also I have a question. I was wondering, I don't remember if I just don't remember from like the Chain of Gold book, but how is Tatiana able to talk to Grace? Does she also have a power? Like she was able to talk through the mirror and she was able to like get into that body and talk to her. Is it like Belial? And how did she escape? Like I know the consuls were gonna like investigate and we're gonna talk to her and ask her questions. Like did she escape that? And then like how did she end up, her and Belial at the end? I was also shocked that James realized the power of the bracelet because I didn't know that he would find out about it unless Grace told him. Like how would he like make the connection? But I was super surprised that he found out about it. I'm also wondering like what Charles wanted with Alistair, like what he would tell Alistair, because he requested him while being in like the infirmary with like the Silent Brothers. So I was kind of wondering like what he wanted Alistair for. Also, this book says Great Expectations. I guess this was a book that Cordelia must have or read. And also I realized the sword says I'm Cortana of the same steel and temper as Joyeuse and Durandal. Like it's so intricate, the little design. And I also found Tatiana to be super evil, like the fact that she would even tell Grace to enchant Jesse. You can also tell that Cordelia makes Matthew a better person. I'm just hoping that when Cordelia and Matthew come back from Paris, that James is able to like explain to them what happened with Grace, because he was like rushed off to go deal with like his sister and find out what's going on with that. I do truly hope that Jesse is alive, but if not, I hope that Malcolm can like use necromancy to make him alive. I also feel like in the next book the thieves will end up forgiving Alistair because Thomas like wants to be involved with Alistair. He isn't a bad person, he just had to deal with his father and like all the rumors that surrounded that, and so like with that at the Shadowhunter Academy came bullying. And I'm also hoping that Matthew ends up telling his mom Charlotte the truth about her losing her son. I'm also rooting for James and Cordelia because it wasn't actually his fault that he was under the enchantment and that his brain was like foggy. It was really Grace's fault because she did that for a number of years on him. It will be weird with Matthew going forward. Although I wasn't much of a fan of James like at the beginning when he was like having this like huge wedding with Cordelia and he was still wearing the bracelet of Grace. I wasn't like a fan of him then, but after I realized like the bracelet's effect, I kind of realized that it wasn't his fault. And lastly, I just want to say that I'm so glad that Lucy like commanded Jesse to drop Belial out of his body and to like not be possessed by Belial anymore, because I was super glad because like Belial is sexist and he like completely made fun of Lucy, and I'm glad that Lucy was the one to destroy Belial. And yeah, honestly, Chain of Iron, I know I already said this, but it was a lot better than Chain of Gold, the first book, and I can't wait till the next book. I don't know what it would be called, Chain of something. We do have to wait a whole year, I'm guessing next March, until she makes like the next book or like releases it to us. So here is a little clip of the book tour little interview. It was 30 minutes of the host asking Cassandra questions and then about like 20 minutes of questions from the audience, and they didn't get to mine unfortunately, but I just wanted to say throughout the little virtual book tour, the host was like suggesting to Cassandra to make a little like novella of the bartender stories at El Ruel, and I thought that was a very nice idea. They would have juicy stories. And as well, Cassandra said that she's making a book series called The Wicked Powers with Kit and Ty, and I'm so glad about that because I want to know more about the Blackthorns and Kit and Ty's relationship. With that being said, I will see everybody in another video.